Good morning. Welcome to this podcast. What are we on today? We're on the 24th of November, Friday. It's 9:30 in the morning, and what an exciting and crazy few weeks it's been since the last podcast. So, what's been happening? Lots of stuff's been happening. I've had a lot of personal stuff going on with my personal life. I don't really want to divulge into that. It's taken me away from the computer considerably, but I think it's finally coming to a head. So this week I've been able to get back down on the computer, get a few things done more progressively. What else have we got coming up? Well, we've got a few things coming up in December. A few exciting things. But one of the first things I wanted to talk about was the ClickFusion Academy. Now, as you may have noticed, the last couple of weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, things have been a little bit dormant on there. That's because of how much stuff I've had going on. It's been absolute bedlam. However, great news is today is a complete ClickFusion Academy Day. So what does that entail? Well, that entails new tutorials, new videos, and there's all sorts of stuff that I'm going to put up there. But there's also some secondary news that comes with that. And that is, I've been checking out the ClickFusion site, ClickFusion Academy site. I've been looking over it. I've always wanted to make it user-friendly. Everything's big and bold. All the text is big. It's easy to read. Videos are easy to get to. Everything's really understandable. However, I feel like it needs a bit of a change. I feel like it needs bringing more. I don't know what the term is. I think at the minute, I'm just looking at the site right now as I'm doing this, and everything looks good. 6 months ago is exactly how I wanted it to look, and it took me quite a long time to rebrand it into the Academy from FusionRad. However, I always think that there's room for things to be done better. I always want things to be improved and look a lot better. I mean, the ClickFusion Academy literally is my baby. I mean, I started this thing last year. It took me 6 months to build up FusionRad. I launched it in December of last year, and it's been literally my pride and joy for the entire of 2017, pretty much. I mean, I work on it all the time. I'm constantly checking emails. I'm a one-man band. I do the whole website. I do the maintenance. I do all the scripting. I do all the database stuff. I do the optimization. I do the SEO. I deal with the memberships, I deal with the billing, the payments, and also I deal with everything that's server side as well, which includes a hell of a lot of attempts for people to get into the site, which is expected because majority of websites get that. So we have been under attack quite a few times. However, my defences have proven well. The countless days and hours spent putting in systems and scripting up firewalls and stuff, it's all been worthwhile in the end. We've had no breaches whatsoever, which is fantastic. I can see every little bit of activity that goes on the server, so the second I get a peek in logins and stuff, I get notified immediately, and I can keep my eye on that. But yeah, I mean, we've gone through 2017 and it's just been great. I mean, I've been able to upload new content all the time, and loads of other stuff. However, I do feel like we do need a bit of a rebrand, especially going into next year, for 2018. So I'm going to concentrate on that this weekend. I was going to do a Black Friday sale for memberships on the Academy, but I thought, you know what, I really want to get this update done to the ClickFusion Academy. So what I don't want to do is I don't want to give out a discounted membership for Friday, which is today, and a few people sign up and then all of a sudden the site goes down for 24 to 48 hours while I redesign it. I just don't think that would be fair. So what I might do is I might do the Cyber Monday sale instead, and that gives me this weekend to get the ClickFusion Academy out of the way. Now, the way I have it set up on the server is I have the production environment. I don't really have a development environment. I could spend the time creating a development environment and then doing the redesign and then migrating the changes across, but that's not how I like to work. I mean, I've got plenty of backups of the site, so what I'm going to do at some point this weekend is I'm going to pop the site into maintenance mode, so you won't be able to access it, and then I'm just going to smash it off. I'm just going to get all the content ready. I've redesigned the logo. I'm unsure whether I'm going to stick with it or not. Maybe I'll put a couple of links beside this podcast, but I excuse me, I'm definitely going to redesign it somehow. I mean, I like the logo. I like what I did with the logo, the ClickFusion and the Fusion Atom for the O, and then the Academy. It's like it's a proper emblem, but I just don't know whether it's going to pass over for the new site redesign. I don't know. I've got a couple of ideas. I'm going to post up my ideas of a new logo attached to this, so feedback would be good on that. Let me know what you guys think. We'll see what happens on that front, but it's going to be a hell of a job. I'm basically going to be doing like a week's work in 24 hours if I take the site down and decide that I'm going to do this, because I don't want the site to be down too long, but I need to test everything and make sure everything works. And then the other issue I've got is, because I'm hand coding it all, if anything goes Pete Tong and I get say 60-70% into the way of the redesign and something goes disastrously wrong that I can't debug in time, the only option I've got is to switch back to the former version via a backup. So I'm really gonna have to nail a week's work literally in 24 hours or so, but we'll see how that goes. I'm excited. I really want to do the redesign. I was going to start it last night, but I was way too tired after everything that I got done. So what else have we got? What else have we got? Clickteam wise, everything has to remain a little bit quiet. Although there is a promo coming up. Excuse me 1 second. I can't mute this thing. There is a you can tell it's winter. There is a bit of a promo coming up called Fusion Wars, the programming menace. I don't really have too many details to give out right now, but our guy at Clickteam, Nico, our graphics guy, he's done a superb job of a Star Wars rendition of a Clickteam. Sorry, a Clickteam rendition of a Star Wars poster, and he's managed to merge a few of the staff faces in there, so that'll be out soon as well. And yes, I am part of it. What else have we got? He does actually look quite good. He's done really well. He's done really well with it. Obi-Wan. I've stayed away from the Clickteam community forums this last week on purpose, because all I keep seeing is the same stuff pop up. I mean, I like to browse the forums daily. It's part of my daily ritual. I get up in the morning, I check out the forums. Every time I get 2 minutes spare on my phone, I check out the forums, see what's going on, somebody needs any help, something I can get my hands into, or maybe as a topic of interest. But I've noticed a trend in the last month or so. It seems to be coming to a bit of a stale situation. So so the last week I've been away from that, but I'm getting back into it slowly. I just want to see some new topics come up. What else are we doing? Back to the ClickFusion Academy. I'm going to ditch the free membership and make it into a free trial. But that won't affect existing free members. If you're already an existing free member, it's not going to convert you over to a trial. Don't worry about that. But I'm going to ditch the free membership. I'm not going to ditch it. I'm going to switch it for a free trial instead. I think I'll do maybe a month free trial. I don't know. There's a few things to weigh up, but yeah, that's the angle I'm going down at with that. I'm not sure. Another thing as well, because this year has basically been just all go on the ClickFusion Academy front. I've not really had time to do anything myself, and I was getting a little bit creatively anxious. About 4 weeks ago, I was sat there thinking, I've not actually created anything myself. I've not made any. I mean, this year I've started a few prototype engines. Some of them are pretty sweet, by the way. But then I get to this point where I go, oh bollocks, I'm not doing anymore, and that's it. I just leave it at that. So about 4 weeks ago, I started getting creatively anxious because I started playing a few more games, and every time I started playing games, I haven't picked up my Xbox joypad for quite a long time, but a few weeks ago, I picked it up and started playing a few games and checking out some of the new stuff that was out, and even bought a couple of games and whatever, and started playing them, and it started feeding me. It was like, come on, you need to make a game, you need to do something. I've not even released a slot machine for 2.5 years, 3 years. So I was thinking, well, what can I do? And my artistic skills are absolutely terrible. You'll probably know this if you're a ClickFusion Academy member. I can do user interface stuff, and I can make it look good. Like all the slots that I did all the user interface for that. But when it comes to character and character detail and stuff like that, I'm absolutely shocking. Now the other issue I've got is I would love to hire an artist, but there is so many different artists out there, so many different rates, and I do stand by the old cliche of you get what you pay for. That's understandable, I get that. But then I don't really know what I want either. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to create something, a game that wasn't just like a shoot 'em up or a linear kind of game that just had a straight narrow format. So I wanted to create like a puzzle stroke logic game, but I wanted it to look good. I wanted the user to be in full control, and not feel as if it was a linear story that they were following. So I started a new game development. Now I'm going to give you a bit of backstory before I get into this, because what happened was, before I started this, I actually thought about not creating it in Fusion 2.5. How crazy is that? The reason why I didn't want to, the reason why I was getting these ideas is because I actually wanted to create something that looked good visually, and because my graphic skills are shot at, I couldn't see any way I was going to do that, and I was getting really frustrated thinking about it, because I had this idea in my head, and I was like, well, how am I going to... I can do the code side of it in Fusion, it's not a problem, I can do that all day long. So anyway, I got some... I ditched... I was going to go 3D, that's basically the top and bottom of it. I was going to go 3D, I was going to actually see if I could create it in 3D. But then when I thought about it, I thought, that is absolutely ridiculous, it's nonsense. I could have created it in Firefly, but I thought, I'm just going to stick with the 2D version, and I went with the 2D version and I ran with it, and 4 weeks later I've got this fully functional engine, which is only 226 events so far, and it's pretty much the full engine top to bottom. I've got a camera system, a custom camera system. What have I managed to get in? I'm just looking at it right now so I can give you an overview. Right, it's full physics based, which is exactly what I needed. I needed for it to be physics based. I needed because when you're doing puzzles and logic and stuff, you need physics. Now, obviously, because of some of the shader effects that I've used, I needed shaders as well, and because of some of the shader effects that I've used, it's not going to be mobile compatible, at least not immediately. But that doesn't concern me because I feel like the market, a PC market, is good for this so far. I might post a video with this link, just giving you a quick preview of it, because I am keen for feedback, but I don't want to show off something too early. But yeah, I'm using the physics. I'm using Box 2D. It's a platformer, and it's not your typical platformer of shoot 'em up and collect a load of coins and kill a load of baddies. It's really in depth, and I mean in depth. I mean from the graphics to the atmosphere to the character control. I mean, you can, for example, one of the biggest features, although this may sound small, was actually the ability to push and pull blocks, and this was a big thing for me because if you can get your player character to push and pull a block really easy with the joypad or with the keyboard, then you're already halfway there to creating an engine which is going to be good for puzzle and logic, and I've managed to get that really good. I've also implemented a ledge hanging routine with physics. Can you believe that? It took me a while. There's a load of custom sensors I had to use, but yeah, I've managed to get it to work. So you can now hang from a ledge if you can't reach up a certain platform or on top of a house. Then you can, as long as you can just get to the edge of the ledge, you can grab onto it and hang. You can then peek over the ledge to look for enemies or predators, and then when you want to get up, you can just jump up or you can just drop down. It's been really interesting. I'm using trigger zones. I'm using a thing called trigger zones. So basically what that consists of is, now rather than having hard-coded events for certain parts of the level, I'm using invisible trigger zones, and it's just basically an active object that's invisible, and when the player steps into this trigger zone, there's a certain subsection of events that are attached to that specific trigger zone. So that, for example, that trigger zone might not trigger unless a few other variables are true. Like, for example, if you've got to collect a key, if you've got to find a key, then obviously some of the trigger zones won't trigger what they're meant to trigger until you've got the key, or vice versa. So yeah, I've got a level settings active object which is off the screen. I love creating these little placeholders, and that basically holds all the level information, such as the level number, the name of the level, and then we have some parameters in there, such as is key, got key. They're just preset parameters so that when I want to change things for the next level, all I have to do is change most of the parameters. I've also implemented a notification system as well. So when you go up to a sign, it gives you a run through of what the sign says. I've also implemented a thinking system. So basically what happens is, because it's a puzzle stroke logic game, platformer, some people might be a bit bamboozled. They might not know what to do at particular points, or they might not even know what to do at all. So I've developed a thinking system which the character has. So if certain times are hit, or you reach certain points and you end up going full circle without achieving anything, then like a speech bubble, not a speech bubble, the thinking bubble will appear out of his head, and he will give like random tips as to what to do, but not to give too much away because that would just make it too easy. So Yeah, I felt like that was worthy of implementing. I've got custom sensors for the feet. We've got 2 feet. They follow the player. I've got one for his chest, one for his back, and one for his head. The head detector is mostly for any physics objects that hit him on the head. I needed to be able to detect that manually. I also needed to be able to detect the speed and the weight and the density of the object to tell whether it would kill him or not. I mean, you know, not everything can kill you. So, for example, if a barrel rolls on his head, and the barrel, you know, it would probably kill you if a barrel hit you on the head and it came off a platform. But if it was just you know, like for example, something really light, like a rock, a small rock, then it wouldn't kill you. So I needed to be able to manually detect all that. So I've got a head sensor as well. That's in there. I'm using some really atmospheric sounds, commercial sounds as well, produced by BMI. Specifically, most of them were created by a guy called Jason Donnelly. Is to provide a real sense of atmosphere, and some great soundtracks, and some custom made soundtracks as well that go with it, just to bring to the environment. Now, the game, I don't want music playing in the background. It's not one of them 2D platformers where you're running along and you've got some music in the background. That's not how it works. I've got a sound system built in, and with the way I want the music to work is I want it to, most of the time all you hear is the ambiance of the level. So for example, if you're in the forest, all you'll hear is the crickets and the birds, and you get that general sense of a forestry atmosphere. And obviously I've got custom sounds for basically everything the player does. So if you're running along some grass, you'll hear some grass, like you'll actually, you know, you'll hear you're running through grass. But then when you jump onto wood, you know, you're walking on wood. Yeah, I mean, I'm just so excited for this, like really excited. I've got some cool layer effects going down. I've got parallax backgrounds. I've got some real nice lighting effects as well, because it's kind of set in the medieval times. Everything's working off a torch and flame, so I've got some real cool effects in there, lighting effects. But yeah, it just feels so good to have thought of an idea finally in my head and thought, you know what, I'm going to run with this, because I spend so much time teaching what I know in Fusion 2.5 to other people. I don't actually get time to sit there and do something myself. I mean, and even if I did get the time, by the time I've spent teaching other people different concepts in Fusion 2.5 and stuff, you feel a little bit burnt out. So that when I do come around to, you know, finally starting a project in Fusion 2.5, it never really ends up going anywhere, because I just feel so mentally burnt out and so full of ideas, and then I think, oh, that's going to take me X amount of time to do, and I only just shown somebody how to do that last week, so I'm going to have to reproduce it now, and you know. So, but what I've learned to do now is try and focus on the academy and the teaching, because I do a lot of one-to-one teaching as well, live teaching over Skype, which is awesome. It's one of the best things I've ever done. 1 second, let me drink some of this coffee before it goes cold. Oh, milky coffee, you can't beat it. I'll give you a bit of a trick here. If you like a good milky coffee, put your coffee in your cup, put your sugar in your cup, fill the cup almost to the top with milk, cold milk. Put it in the microwave for 1 minute 45 seconds, give it a stir, you've got yourself a red hot milky coffee. There you go. So if you didn't know that, you know that now. What was I talking about? Yeah, the Skype sessions. The Skype sessions are usually the highlight of my week. I do a few Skype sessions with people. With one guy, I'm developing with him a mobile app. We've been at it for a few months now, and basically I develop it. On my side, I do the screen share, and I guide him through what I'm doing. He tells me what kind of features he wants to put in. So as I'm developing it, he gets to see me develop it. He gets to learn how stuff works with app development, sharing global values, and working with data. Data is a big thing because we're storing a lot of data. So sometimes if we create a frame where the user can edit data, then we have to load up that data, we have to modify the data, and then we have to resave it again. But yeah, it's very, very productive for him. It's productive for me because sometimes he'll come up with something that you need to do, and you think, oh, how am I going to challenge that? And you've got to think on the spot, and you've got to do it, and it's really good. It just really, really works. And then there's a couple of guys where they're doing their own game developments, and yeah, I just teach them a few. It's just awesome. It's a really, really good experience. I mean, I can't emphasize enough how much fun I have with the academy and with the teaching online. It's just awesome. You get to connect with people around the world. It's all, it's not like you're at school. It's all serious. Sometimes when I Skype some of the guys, we end up talking for 10-15 minutes about what's going on in real life before we even get into anything. It's just really good. I hope to do a lot more of it next year, and I hope that I can rebrand the academy into being the best that it can, because it literally is my baby. I mean, I've worked on it single-handedly from day one. I've built up quite a website there with a shed ton of content, which a lot of people are really digging. I mean, I never ever really get any negative feedback at all. It's just always positive, and I'm just so thankful that I had the opportunity to be able to create something like the academy and still carry on creating it as well and try and making it the best I can. But yeah, the new game engine that I'm working on, I'm going to do a video. I'm going to put it on YouTube, and I'm going to link to it from this podcast. So if you guys want to shoot me any feedback, that'd be awesome, because I do believe one of the biggest downfalls of game development when it comes to releasing is if you didn't tell anybody about it, it's usually going to fall on its ass. And I had a bit of an issue with that when I developed Intergalaxia for the Xbox 360. I didn't tell anybody about it. I didn't post any blog updates, or I didn't get any hype about the game, so that when I did release it, it kind of fell on its ass. I made a little bit of money off Microsoft, but it wasn't out to write home about. But with this game, I'm so excited and to develop it, I want to showcase it off. The problem is that there was a line where you can't showcase something off really until you've got something more tangible, and I feel I'm pretty much getting there now. So yeah, just keep your eyes locked on, because I really, really do want some feedback. If I'm going to post this up, I really want some feedback. There's going to be nothing worse than doing a video, posting it up, and then getting no feedback. I might as well not have done it. It might be a bit demoralising, but hey, who knows? We'll see how we get on. So what else have we got going on, guys? What else have we got going on? I don't know. You've got to be careful what I say, because there's so much stuff going on. What's going on the forums, on the Clickteam forums? Let's have a look. Not much. It's the same old stuff. This is why I've been avoiding it for last week. Nope. Nothing. Same old questions every time. I will be very interested in hearing what some of you guys have been up to. Now, I don't have a blog specifically for me and my development. I'm going to sort that out today because I want to be able to post these podcasts up, not just on the Academy site, because they're not Academy podcasts, are they really? I mean, they are about the Academy, but they're everything about me, you know, what I'm doing. Whether it's for the Academy, whether it's for Clickteam, whether it's for snooker, whether it's for whatever I'm doing. So I'm going to create a blog somehow, somewhere, I don't know. And I'm going to, I don't know, I'll sort something out. I'll pop a link in the description for this podcast. But yeah, again, I'm just doing all these on a whim. I don't have anything benchmark to talk about, but I'll tell you something right now. What I'm going to do for next week is I'm going to get one of the Clickteam guys involved in doing a podcast with me. You know, because I feel like there is a few things we could do. Last year I did the what did I do last year for Clickteam? I did the advent calendar. You might remember the advent calendar I did. Well, I'm not going to go and do that this year because that was a monumental task, and I mean a monumental task. I developed this HTML5 system where you open presents, where you opened the advent door on the calendar. And yeah, it was really good. I mean, the way I developed the system was really good. However, there was a lot of stuff that had to be manually put in, and it was crazy. It was bedlam. So, but I'm going to come up with a different idea. Let's see if we can do something else for Clickteam for around the Christmas period, because I like Christmas. I'm a massive fan of Christmas. In fact, I'm going to be putting my tree up this week coming. My Christmas tree's going up. I'm going to decorate the whole house. I absolutely love Christmas. So yeah, I'm definitely going to do something Christmassy or festive for Clickteam and for the Academy as well for this coming Christmas. So let's see what we can produce. But apart from that, there's not really much more I can touch on. I'll post the links to everything I've discussed alongside this podcast, and any feedback and comments would be really much appreciated for that. So I'm going to sign off now. It's time to think about how I'm going to rebrand the website and how I'm going to do it without messing up too much, because if I mess up too much, I'm going to have to just restore the site into what it was previously. So hopefully I can just dig deep and get that done. But yeah, I hope you all have a great weekend. Don't forget Cyber Monday. I'm going to do discounts on the ClickFusion Academy membership for the Pro membership, and I'm also going to do a Cyber Monday discount for the ClickFusion Academy store. I'm pretty sure that Clickteam may have something up their sleeve for a sale. I'm not sure. I haven't been involved in any of the sale talk, so I have no idea. I'm even looking at the chat room now, there's no discussion on it, so don't hold your breath for that one, guys, but I'll let you know in due course what's going on. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon.